In today's video, you're going to learn how Python comments work, and I will also show you some common mistakes when writing Python comments. Hello coders, welcome to my channel. I'm David, your guide to mastering programming. Comments are pieces of code that doesn't affect the running of your code. They're usually used to explain what your code is about. There are two types of comments in Python, but there's a catch with the second type that will shock you. First type is single line comments. To create a single line comment, you need to write hashtag, and after that hashtag, everything you write is considered a comment. My first comment. When Python interpreter sees this hashtag, it knows that everything after that hashtag won't affect the script and that it is a comment that is only used by programmers. The second type is, you guessed it right, multiple line comments, and they are created like this. You need to write triple quotes. As you can see, they are created automatically when you write two times double quotes, and here you can write your multiple line. For example, my line, and it works. But here, if I wrote, for example, and write, it doesn't work. It shows an error. But the catch is, this is not really a comment. This is a multiple line string, precisely called docstring, but it can be used as a comment because values can stand alone in your Python script and not cause errors. For example, if I write here 1, it stands alone, but this is outlined yellow because it doesn't have any meaning, but this is not an error. It will work perfectly fine like this. I will prove that docstring is not really a comment. If I try to assign a variable value to a single line comment here, for example, x to be equal to this, as you can see, it has some red outline here, which means there's some error. More precisely, the error is I didn't assign any value. There is no value here because everything after the hashtag is considered like nothing, like there isn't anything written. But if I write here my x to be equal to this, as you can see, there is no error. Everything worked perfect. Now that you know these two types of comments in Python and how they work, I will show you three common mistakes with comments. First mistake is not changing the comments when changing the code. For example, if I have a code s to be equal to 0 for I in range 10, and here, for example, add all of these i's, and here I write, for example, addition, but sometimes we forget to change the comment when we change the code, because when we change the code, something in my output changes, and this doesn't affect my output. So we think that this doesn't matter, but it does, because if you have a very complex code and you forget to change the comment, you will get confused what your code actually does. Here, if I write something like this, now this doesn't add all of my numbers, it multiplies all of the numbers from 0 to 10. Second mistake, your comments should have some meaning. They shouldn't repeat what you see. For example, here I have a for loop. My comment shouldn't be for for loop. Yes, this is for loop, but what for loop does? What's the purpose of this for loop? That's what should be in the comments. You should here write multiplication of the first 10 numbers. And third mistake is commenting too much. For example, you can write here set value to 1. Here multiply numbers for loop. This is too much comments. Your code should be written clean enough that if you point to the main logic, the code should be easy to understand. So, you should use comments on blocks of code that have one logic. For example, here I wrote multiplication of the first 10 numbers, and that is enough, and that covers fourth and fifth line, because that's what these two lines do, and that's one logic. But if I have, for example, here another logic, for I in range 10, s plus equals 2 times I. Here is another logic. Now I add 2 times all of these numbers. So here I can write addition of numbers from 0 to 10 and write multiplied by. It's better if I write this in my docstring. Multiplied by 2. This is a good practice for your commenting. Smash that subscribe button if you liked the video and dive into 3 Python tricks that I dropped last week. It's the perfect next watch. Link is on the screen now.